Alright, so this video is just going to be about something that I've kind of noticed quite an influx of over the past few months, and it is, as you read by the title, the use of the word LARP. Now, I'm sure a good amount of people watching will probably know what LARP means, but in case you don't know, LARP stands for live action roleplay, which, as the name states, is when a bunch of people act out a story but in real life. And this is what I and many other people had assumed for years was the only meaning of the word, but I'm pretty sure, as most of y'all watching already know, that the internet has a way of taking normal words and turning them into something completely different. And unfortunately, LARP has become one of the latest victims. People use this term now to call out anyone who is faking their love or enjoyment for any piece of media, whether it be music, books, video games, and anime, which I'll get to those two in a minute, don't worry. You can get called a LARPer for literally any of these. Now, after seeing this word get used so abundantly on sites like Twitter and especially TikTok, it became very clear to me that this was just a new way of calling someone a poser. Like, that's simply all it is. Which, being a poser is something that's been around for ages. Again, relating to the same mediums that I had mentioned earlier. Hell, there have been jokes and stereotypes for certain fandoms as it relates to being one. Like Persona or DMC fans never actually taking the time to play their games, or the ongoing joke of Dragon Ball fans not actually watching the series whenever they get something blatantly wrong about the anime or manga. Now that I think about it, low-key, like, Dragon Ball fans were the OG LARPers of the anime community. That's crazy. Anyways, I didn't really see the term LARPing being used in this context until around some point within the last year. I don't really know. And of course, it was on none other than TikTok. And it's gotten to the point on that app where you have this sort of culture of people calling each other LARPers left and right. You could literally post your top 10 favorite anime and manga on that app, be the truest fan of each series listed, and once that post gets enough attention, the chances of you getting called a LARPer or a new gen, or people saying, oh, you're trying to be niche, steadily start to rise up. And God forbid you have a critically acclaimed or highly praised anime within the community in it, because I can guarantee you're gonna get at least one comment talking about some,
oh wow, W LARP. I can't lie, good list, but I can just tell you're a LARPer. New gen. The boy who cried niche.
LARP, 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 sahur.
Look at this shit, man. I'm out.
Now, I will be honest and fair, there are some people who definitely do fake a lot of their lists. They'll go ahead and have a whole list just full of obscure and highly praised anime. You could definitely take a quick glance and assume that, yeah, this person's probably a fraud. But in all honesty, this sort of creates a toxic and annoying culture. And it's something that I think is starting to spread and get normalized. For example, the franchise that I think has been affected the most by this trend is a visual novel by the name of Tsubahibie. Now, I've known about this visual novel for years now, and I've never played a single second of it, and I know the fans love to praise it to high heavens. Unfortunately though, this series has gained quite the reputation in the last several months. Some of you might just recognize it from the image that I currently have on screen right now. God, this is so unserious, bro. Once this LARPing thing started to gain popularity, it was like the second plane hitting the second tower. Tsubahibie will become probably the biggest victim of the LARP epidemic, with just about everything I see online about this VN relating to either the image I showed before, or people simply going ahead and just LARPing being a fan of the series, and putting it in their top 10 lists. Recently, I went ahead and watched a few playthrough videos of Tsubahibie. Why, you might ask? Well, your boy might like to LARP a little bit too, alright? Hop off, don't worry about it. Jokes aside though, I really wanted to see the comment sections of these videos. What I saw was absolutely damning. Comment sections full of frauds. You had so many people just flaunting off the fact that they were doing this sick practice of LARPing. I was just disgusted. You people disgust me. Tsubahibie aside though, another series that also has an abundance of LARPers is Serial Experiments Lane. Now this is a series I've known about for years, and unlike Tsubahibie, I've actually watched Lane, so you can't call me a LARPer. Lane is an interesting case since its popularity goes beyond just the anime, which in turn has created a ton of LARPers within the Lane community. This one's a little crazier to me since the Lane anime is literally only 13 episodes. 13 goddamn episodes, meaning that you could finish this in less than 5 hours. It's like the same case with another visual novel I see get brought up a lot in these LARPing conversations called Saya no Uta. This game is only about 6 hours long apparently, which for visual novel standards is basically nothing. Not to mention it's only $15 on Steam, so it's short, cheap, and easily accessible. For some reason, everyone loves to LARP this series on TikTok. I shit you not. It genuinely blows my mind. But honestly, I think this all leads to one thing, and that's the shortening of people's attention spans. Here, let me explain. I think actually sitting down and making an effort to focus on a show or a game is just getting too much for some people. The speed at which things move, especially on the internet, has negatively affected many people's attention spans. And TikTok, the app where this whole LARPing thing came to be, is probably the biggest culprit when it comes to this being the case. So really connecting the dots all together, it starts to make a ton of sense. But still, I just don't get the point of doing all this. Listen, bruh, if you haven't played or watched something, who cares? I feel like putting up a front and lying about it just makes things even worse on your end. And low-key, you just look goofy. That's just how I feel though. Maybe I'm just taking this too seriously, even though most of this video is a joke. Again, this whole LARPing thing goes beyond just gaming and anime. People like to LARP being fans of music artists too, especially when it's like lesser known or underground artists. Though being honest, most of the people who get the backlash for this are celebrities. But anyways, though, that was my whole take on this LARPing thing. I don't have much else to say. Like the video and subscribe to this channel as well as my main channel if you're interested. And yeah, I'm out of here.